Okay, Ray. Guess who we have standing by on line 10?
Oh. It wouldn't be the president of the Manitoba Métis Federation, David Chartrand, would it be?
That's me, Ray.
Aha.
How are you? I know it was you.
Yeah.
But you're traveling quite a bit.
I'm doing well, and I'm just counting the sleeps to come home. What a way, huh? You're going all these, and you're desperate to get back home.
Well, you're like you're like a rock star. You have to be on tour.
Well, you know what? It was a very busy time when we were out here. I had a good discussion with the minister yesterday, Minister of Natural Resources, the new minister for Canada. And it was a very good meeting with Wilkinson. One of the key things that we're pushing, of course, is this greenhouse we're trying to build. And it's going to be a massive greenhouse. Our plan is to plant 2 million trees a year. Secondly, we're doing 7 greenhouse hubs to go one in each region. So this project's probably altogether about 15 million.
Wow.
So we had a good discussion on that yesterday with the minister. We're truly the lead on this right now everywhere, not only just with the Métis, but overall. We're definitely a strong lead in the sense of looking at our carbon footprint, how we're going to be addressing the commitment Canada made to planting 2 billion trees. So I think there's strong favoritism by the minister to work with us on this initiative. And he indicated to staff he wants our staff to get together so quickly as possible and see where it takes us. But again, it'll develop a lot of the church bells are ringing here. I could hear them. I'm actually staying right beside a church. I'll go there in the morning.
Oh.
But the project greenhouse will employ probably about 50 people. So we're looking forward to that, and at the same time also have runoffs of jobs for planting trees, etc. Right? So again, that's a good initiative. I want to thank our team at the office, Marcy and the rest of the group that's working hard on this initiative, and of course the minister. So it's very important that we see ourselves in this position. Mr. Park is definitely taking his role very seriously and works with his team well and pursuing these opportunities. Also, don't forget, November 20th is National Child Day. I don't know if you heard of it, Ray, but it's in Canada. It's called National Child Day. Mm-hmm. It's a day to honor the role of our youth in our families and our community. Of course, we've heard such horrific stories of the children and what happened to many of the children throughout residential school, the 60s coup, and so forth. But there's also the stories of our families, of how we promote and really prioritize our children and love our children, make them first priority, no matter what we do. And it's part of the way our culture, this Métis culture. So it's going to be a very important time. And this was in concert with what we're doing at the Federation now, building these daycare centers. I keep on trying to remind everybody listening on the show and grandparents and parents and just youth themselves, there's a good opportunity to have a full-time career in the child care sector because our plan is to continue building the daycare centers. You heard the one in Duck Bay is built, the one in Dauphin is built. Now there's 2 others, one in Thompson. We also supported the one in Winnipeg. We put $600,000 to support that initiative, that child care center in South Avenue. And now we're going to be opening St. Eustache very shortly. I hope St. Eustache is listening. And I think I'll be there for the ribbon cutting ceremony. And I'm very, very proud of St. Eustache. It's hardworking, local. And you've got to give that town and that community hats off, because I'm telling you, they work so hard to promote our culture, promote our government, and at the same time protect our identity. So, and I'm looking forward to a daycare center. It's long overdue for them to have something in their community. So, and of course, the PAW is coming up. You heard the announcement already of $10.3 million that Minister Goodon announced, and one of them will be, of course, Minister Chartrand and Francis in the Northwest announced the new daycare center, which they employ 14, probably to 17 full-time jobs there. And that one, so that construction should hopefully start by spring. And I look forward to the ribbon cutting ceremony there. But remember, there's 250 to 300 jobs here. So, and that's just full-time jobs. So I'm telling people, get your certificate. The Federation is actually paying for this. We'll get you trained. We'll get you out of your first tickets for childcare. and then you can continue to pursue up into management levels later. So, but again, it's a great opportunity, good paying job, good benefits, and you definitely can provide for your family solidly after that. So again, for young people out there that want to pursue a career in this field, and as I said, it'll be a good head start for your family. And I look forward to it. So check the website. And by the way, we've got a new website. I encourage people to go to MMF's new website. Yeah. Check it out. It's a new, of course, design. IT, Ray, where you and I don't have no clue about it. You and I, of course, are not very well connected to the IT world, but there's a lot of smart people out there that are, and they have actually put a good website for us together at the Federation, and so I thank them for that. Now, I want to thank some other people. My Minister, of course, of Finance, Anita Campbell, represented me on L'Oreal Day, and we'll get on him seat. I was watching it actually from here, live streaming. So I was very pleased to see such a large crowd of dignitaries there. Eder Stephenson was there to represent the Conservative Party. And as you know, the Conservative Party under Brian Pallister would not even recognize Riel on the celebration of 150 Manitoba. They couldn't even whisper the name of Riel. There was so much distaste to gain some AT by Pallister. And I'll be very clear. There's not a doubt in my mind this man was racist. And so he took a very strong dislike to the Métis of who we are, and that we have rights, and that we have a special place in Confederation. And I think he despised it that we have our own place in Canada, and the founders of Manitoba have harvesting rights, rights to make sure we're consulted with natural resources, all these things. I think it really bothered him to see that the Indigenous people, and Métis people in particular, had a special place and a special responsibility that he had no problem. He had no way of getting away from it. That he had a responsibility to consult and deal with us. So, and he didn't want to recognize it. So I was very proud to see Eder Stephenson come to the MMF and show that there is a change. The page has turned, and that she wants a new relationship. In fact, she already texted me out here. I will be having a discussion with her, I believe, on the 21st. Before the throne speech, and she and I will be meeting upon my return. And also, I'm very pleased to see Wab Cano was there, and of course, Wab is an excellent speaker and sent some very solid remarks to our great founder of Manitoba, Riel. And Douglas, Doug, I hope you're listening. You did a great job, Doug Lamont, on behalf of the Liberal Party of Manitoba. I was he did his homework. He read his materials. Terry Doggett, Brian Bowman, they said he said they always everybody stole everything he wanted to say. Yeah. But he said some good things anyway. He said, hey, they all took the stuff away from me already. So, and so Elder John Leon, thank you for the prayers, and of course everybody that was supporting and recognizing the great respect Riel deserves as the founder of Manitoba. So with that being said, I'm very pleased. As I said, the Premier and her cabinet are sending a message. There's a new relationship. I had a discussion with Minister Cox yesterday also. And so she sent a strong message. They want to start working with us regarding our Heritage Centre. Of course, that's going to be the old Bank of Montreal, which is now owned by the Métis people on Portage and Main. Mm-hmm. That's where the Heritage Centre will be built. And so she indicated there's some funding for consultations that they'll be awarding to us right away. And she's going to be raising with the Premier and Cabinet that, they give $10 million to Aviation Museum. They give $10 million to the Inuit named museum or Heritage Centre. So we're saying, well, if they all got $10 million, there's no doubt the Métis should be getting $10 million as the founders and the first ever Métis Heritage Centre to be located directly in the Red River. So she said she'd be a champion of it, and she's going to be raising it with the minister. So our meeting went very well. The day before yesterday. So, as I said, Ray, these meetings are still happening out here, and I understand that Patty Ijo was at her office, and Mr. Patty Ijo actually was the Minister of Health. She was very supportive in us getting vaccines when the Premier Pallister wouldn't give it to us, and she fought vigorously to make it very clear to the province if they don't give it to us eventually, because we waited for over a year, that they will give it directly, and they'll circumvent the province. So I think Pallister, at the end of the day, had no choice but to allow our Métis citizens to get vaccines. And that was a battle that really disturbed me yet to this day, that Pallister would play politics in life and death situations such as COVID, which can take a life very quickly. So that was very, I think, dangerous in this political attempt to hurt the Métis people. So it still bothers me today that he would stoop that low. So again, but it's changed. As I said, Editor Stephenson has sent a message. Kathy Cox has sent a message. Minister Lajmadier is contacting me. He sent a message. They want a partnership with the Métis government and the Métis people of Manitoba. So we'll sit down and have that dialogue and see where it takes us. And hopefully maybe we get out of the courts because there's some people charged for harvesting and those are our rights. And so I think it'd be very clear and wise for the new Premier to drop all the court cases, including our hydro court case, because we have two cases going on hydro. One, we're going to sue them civilly, and we're going to sue them on the constitutional rules and rights we have. So that's another lawsuit on the judicial review, it's called. So we're waiting to go to the Supreme Court of Canada on that one. So, but again, maybe the new Premier will say, well, enough is enough, and I don't want to fight with the Métis. I want to work with the Métis. They're bringing hundreds of $millions investment into the province of Manitoba, creating so many jobs, so many opportunities. Why in the hell are we fighting with the Métis? I think this Premier will come out with that message soon. Also got some other news, which I was very pleased to see. $1.8 million for Sheridan Water Treatment Plant upgrade. $1.9 million for Seymourville, which serves Maniquitauga, all the water reserve, and so another $760,000 for Camperville and Duck Bay and Waterhen, because there is issues in these water treatment plants we do have in our Métis villages. Also, as you heard, First Nations don't have boiled water advisory still in some of the reserve. Well, some of our communities have the same situation. So I'm very pleased to see the province is putting money into water treatment facility. But the real, I think, shortfall that follows in these communities is there's nobody trained properly. And if they do train them, they don't have enough money to keep them employed full time. And you start keeping somebody part time, eventually you lose them, and somebody else will steal them from you. So the province needs to look at it in a different context to make sure water is vital. And it's unfortunate we're talking about it this way, Ray, because the day when I was growing up in Duck Bay, you go to a lake and get fresh water with a cup and pail. Mm-hmm. And you can drink it right from the lake, and now you can't. So It's unbelievable. Times have changed on this, so we need to look at how we make it better. But I'm very pleased on the water treatment plants, especially Sheridan. We'll be heading to Sheridan again. As you know, I raised on the show here that Sheridan and Camp Lake and Kississing potentially are in some danger regarding the mining. What the hell's the name of the... Wait, give me a second. I'm trying to think of the name of it. They tampered with the soil. There's some of my staff is listening right now. They'll be texting like crazy. There's a name for it for the mine tailings. That's the name. So the mine tailings that they left behind when they shut the mine in the 50s. What they did raise, they buried it, as I said on the show, underneath. First, they drained Camp Lake, which is a lake. They drained it dry. And then they took all the tailings from the leftover from the mine, and then they buried it under the lake, where the lake the water was going to be put back into the lake, and they went to hide it under the water, and they also put it on top like gravel. So now the lake is just orange. Now they put the water back in, but now it's leaking to Kississing, and it's affecting the community. So we actually hired a company out of Alberta, and I'm very pleased on that part of it. I promised Sheridan, the local, and Métis local, the mayor, that I'll be working on this initiative. This is something the province needs to look at seriously, because if you tamper with the fish and affect the fish in Kississing, the tourism in that area is going to really hurt bad, and so is the fishers, commercial fishing. So you look at all these things in life and death of future health conditions for our children or elders cannot be tolerated by anybody. So we are going to be pushing hard on this, and that's why I'm hiring a team out of Alberta to come and do more examples and analysis and collection of all the soil samples and tailing, maybe fish, check the fish out to see if they've been already contaminated by all these tailings. So again, Sheridan, I hope you're listening, because I want to make it clear I made a promise to you, and you'll know one thing about this president, I keep my promises. So also the other part is that the fishing nets are in, first half of the nets. I want to tell the commercial fishers that. So we're very pleased to hear that, and they're in now. We're going to start distributing some of the nets out, and the other half should be coming very shortly. But there's also I read in the mail, of course, here. I check every day what's going on back home. And we have over 200, I believe, today, yesterday, that had COVID-19, I guess you call it, but the new Delta. but over 200 have been now affected. A few deaths, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head here, but I know it was 4 deaths the day before, and 2 deaths and 1 death. So there's still a serious issue out there in our community, and we need to take this seriously to all our listeners. Make sure you get your 3rd dose. I think it's so important we do, and I assure you the province will be including the Métis now. We have a new premier, and the MMF will not be left out, neither will the Métis under this new premier. So I want to make it very clear. We're ready for people to call our pharmacy and call Mito right away and get an appointment. And I know that Francis and Anita and them are working on a rollout province-wide. So, and don't forget, now we can also start to give vaccines to children. I think from the ages of 5 to 11. Right. So that's going to be a big change maker again, and it's going to really relieve a lot of stress on the parents that are worried for their child to get this COVID and be affected, because it attacks the lungs. I don't care what age you are, and yes, you can be healthy and you'll have a better chance, but at the end of the day, there's still long-term effects, they're saying, but clearly your lungs can be hit very hard. So we do know it's affecting also our businesses, Ray. Our farmers and ranchers, I want to express again on behalf of the Métis government, we'll be there to assist you. We've given them $10,000 each time, and we're putting out another $10,000 to help the farmers and ranchers out there. I know, for example, one farmer had to sell 80 of his cows, just to keep his farm alive. Mm-hmm. And because he couldn't get enough hay, used to before, because they changed the leasing system for the hay cutting also, and the crown lands, and that's been something I'm going to raise with the premier. That's got to change to help the farmers and ranchers. But we're putting up $10,000 again for farmers and ranchers. And I know that businesses out there listening right now, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, they're saying, okay, are we in there too again? Yes, you are. We're going to have $10,000 set aside for small and medium-sized businesses. We don't want them to go bankrupt, right? So during this time of COVID, we're going to be putting up another $10,000 to small and medium businesses. So get hold of the Federation. If you're struggling as a business out there and need help, and you need to show that you need that help, you'll get $10,000 grant free. Same thing with the farmers, ranchers. It's grant free. You won't have to pay for any of it back, but you got to prove you spent it for ensuring that you're dealing with your particular farm, your ranch, or your business. So, but again, contact the Federation. The cabinet is 100% behind this. As president, I made it very clear this is going to be a priority for me to support our businesses, and that $10,000 is up again for application opportunities. So I thank Canada, I thank the Prime Minister, of course, for always ensuring that River Métis are not going to be forgotten. But we also have better news, and not better, good news for our youth entrepreneurs. You heard me talk about micro businesses quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I will be focusing heavy on that this year and the following years to come. I want to start developing small business in the villages. I'm talking mom and pop shops. I'm talking a couple of people be employed or a single family to run a business. All different types of variables that they can use to start a business plan. So our youth are very entrepreneurial. Like if you look at the music world, Ray, when we started teaching our young people to play fiddle, I wasn't sure it would take off. It's 18 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now we got at least 3,000 fiddlers out there. But if you think about it, they started their own business. They went out, they started making CDs, they started selling CDs. I was just proud of our young people. They were young people being entrepreneurs. It's in our blood as an Métis. We've always been business people. So again, we're putting up a new program that'll be coming out, and we're going to give $20,000 to $25,000 for a new business to start. So your business plan, of course, has got to be solid and well thought out. And so this is going to go out to youth entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 and 29, small home-based businesses, as you heard me talk. When I talk about different things like even raising bee farms, maple syrup, all different type of various businesses that you can start at home. And hopefully, as I said, beadwork on moccasins and baby mucklucks, I said in Federation, of course, they got to be done nicely. The Federation will buy them all. And then we'll figure out how we market and sell it ourselves to make sure that the businesses survive. So, but we're willing to give up $20,000 to $25,000 for a business to apply to start at home. So again, and also we're doing for commercial fishermen, and those are active. I'm talking active commercial fishermen. because we did get some calls from people saying that as trappers and as fishers, they haven't fished or trapped for a while, but they want to buy a skidoo, they want to start over as a business. So there's possibilities of that, Ray, but I can't say yes or no. I haven't read the program yet that our team has put together, but I do know that there's fishers out there that are trying to start their co-ops, marketing their fish. I've seen a good message coming out of northern Saskatchewan where they're selling their roe out of the fish, the eggs, and they were making more money on the eggs than they were on the fish.
Wow.
So there's a possibility that this business could expand, and that we're pushing that hard for fishermen because we believe that that's an industry I want to keep alive because it's the last of our traditional economies in our villages. We lost mostly everything else, and I'm still really trying hard. My friend, my colleague, is still out in Jordan right now, and he's dialoguing with Turkey, Russia, and in the surrounding areas for potentially marketing of fur again. Because I believe that we can rebound that industry. You still got a ton of beaver out there, pelts that are needed because the beaver are going to destroy the lands if you don't manage them because they have no real natural enemy but man. So when you look at it overall, there's a great opportunity for us to hopefully evolve the trapping industry because it's shutting down everywhere. And if we can find new markets, then the Federation has indicated we're willing to put up the money to start buying the fur, but we need to first find us a long-term permanent fur buyer. So that's why I got a friend doing this for me in Jordan, the country of Jordan. And he's well connected in Turkey and different countries. And people would be, why the hell would you want to sell fur out there? In fact, it's still well used out in this area. So it's something that's still supported. Yeah. And I know Russia still uses a lot of fur. So if we can start pushing towards getting this industry going, I think that's a small business that can really rebound. And as I said, the Federation will be there financially to back it up. So I'm really pushing that up. And he's also still working on that cross and the Jesus statue that'll be coming in. That'll be a big event, Ray. I hope you're healthy enough, and I'm healthy enough to show up to the grotto. Sure. I expect it to be arriving in the spring. Mm-hmm. It'll be blessed by the Dead Sea, where the holy water, where Jesus was baptized. Yeah. And so there's a lot of history in that particular region where this cross is coming from. And I know it's going to be a big event because I've already given the green light to go ahead and purchase it, and I'll have it shipped into Canada. And I'm sure we're going to have a big gathering at the grotto. And by that time, COVID is under control. And so hundreds upon hundreds of people still could come in to show, again, appreciation of our respect and our connection, of course, to God. And as you know, I'm still a strong Catholic. My mom was a strong Catholic. Yes. I respect First Nations spirituality. I respect all denominations. But at the end of the day, I was raised Catholic, and I'm still a strong Catholic. So speaking of that, you may have heard now, Ray, there was an article in the paper, CBC News, where MNC has cut out the MMF from going to Rome. They've been working with the archbishops. Archbishops got involved and changed the direction. I was very disappointed in that. Mm-hmm. I will be writing a letter directly to the Pope because the issue with dealing with the visit with the Pope was directly given to us through the MMF, through President Chartrand, when he was the president, and because of our strong connection historically with the Catholic Church. You look at Father Richard, he was the lead negotiator for L'Oreal, and there was so many different parishes that were all involved with our land claim and our development. And yes, there's some horrific stories yet that happened to our people and First Nation people, and definitely that has to be dealt with. But at the same time, I know I'm getting a lot of concerns from a lot of our elderly citizens. They're worried about the churches closing down, and we need to find a way to revive them. So while I go to these churches and pray, and for our little Métis Nation, I see the delegation they're sending to Rome, the MNC. They're from two of them, I think, are from Ontario. They're not even Métis citizens. One is born in Val Quebec. Another one, she might be Métis. But I'm looking at her career. She said she's now connected to the Métis culture in Batoche. But I look past her history, and nowhere do I see her mentioning she's been Métis before. So she's probably a new Métis, or just found herself.
Right.
But there's people like that will be representing, while the bishops made strict rules to us when we were negotiating for 3 years. We had to find people that were affected by residential school. We had to find people that are youth still going to church. We had to find those elderly that are churchgoers yet today. And so there was all kind of provisions and rules placed on us by the archbishops. And so I understand they're not following the rules anymore because one of the bishops contacted the MNC and said, look, we'll deal with you if you want. I guess basically I don't know what message they gave, but all of a sudden the MNC was there and cut off the revenue from Métis and Manitoba. So Manitoba, who has the strongest connection to the church, and probably the one that would probably bring some of the more sterner and positive messages on ensuring that how we continue to work with the church, but at the same time hold the church accountable. So when you look at it from that context, it's it's a disgrace for me to see that the archbishops would abandon the Métis government, so the Red River. So, but that's something I will deal with. To me, they're very somebody that you and I regard, but they're also just men. And I will be dealing with them because at the end of the day, that's an insult to my people, an insult to our elderly and our churchgoers, our residential school survivors, and those that are still trying to keep the church spirit alive in their community. So the archbishops to abandon the Red River Métis is again such a massive insult to us, and I assure you, I will hold them accountable, and I will be also writing to the Pope. So again, but the Pope is coming in Canada, and we'll work with the Pope directly to see if we can have a meeting upon his arrival here. And maybe if we're fortunate, we can even get him to come to the grotto in St. Malo, depending where he comes, because that could be one massive historical event taking place where we're bringing, as I said, a natural statue right from Jordan, and the wood, the cross will come from Jordan, and it's about 10 feet tall. And so it'll definitely be a big display in such a beautiful place in the grotto in St. Malo. So if the bishop is here, the Pope, he then possibly can even bless it his way, although it would be blessed already before it arrives here. So again, that's something we keep on doing. But I forgot to reference again Patty Ijo for people that don't know who she is. She is a very strong friend of the Métis and the Red River. And she was Minister of Health. She's now Minister of ISC, they call it, Indigenous Service Canada. And so she's a great choice by the Prime Minister, and she's a very good friend of mine and our Red River Métis. So she'll have a very strong relationship with us. And so is the new Health Minister, de Cruz. I'm already right now working on a meeting with him upon my return. So again, there's so many things happening out there. So the visit to Rome might be canceled by us. So not by us, I'm sorry, but canceled by the archbishops who decided to change partners in the 11th hour. And so we'll have to contact all of the people we selected. There's some Saskatchewan, Alberta, and in Manitoba, and that they will probably not be going to Rome. I know there's a lot of excitement. April's working hard on that file with Mark, and they were making sure the passports were in place for our elderly. And because they didn't have passports, we got that in place. So unless there's a massive change in the archbishops, but I told them not to get involved in politics, but they got involved, and they should have stayed away from it. And that should have been a matter between us and MNC. And definitely, how can MNC in any way even say close that the MMF and the Red River are not probably the most logical ones to be front and center of this visit to the Pope? But again, we'll as they say today, every dog has their day, and we don't forget either. So again, with the rest of the people out there, please get your vaccines. I'm doing a Métis Minute Monday morning, so you'll see that on CTV every morning. And this one's going to be about veterans. So I'll be talking about our heroes of yesterday, of today, and of tomorrow. And somebody I still cherish to this day. I think we need to cherish them even when they lay in foreign soil or our soil back home. I'm still very proud when I see headstones going up, military headstones. And at the same time, when we find more of our veterans that are still alive, if not, I'm very proud of the work that's being done. We have the Legacy program where you can apply every year for programming funding for initiatives, like I said, monuments or maybe education. There's different rules. You'd have to go into the website to find out. But that money will be there permanently for the promise I made to the veterans, is that I will keep their legacy alive forever, because that's what they wanted. And that's how we put the money in place in the legacy fund. And the other one is that we made it very clear, the apology, and that's you can find on our website. So, again, I'll be doing that Monday morning here, from here on the Métis Minute. So, anyways, keep up the hard work, you guys. And for everybody listening at home, and for my baby, if she's listening, I think she's in school. We're counting the sleeps here. We can't wait to get home. Being on holidays is so too long for me. It's the longest holiday I took in 23 years. So, that's why I don't take holidays. I get too bored. I got to work, man. I go crazy. So, my wife is also, wanting to go home. She misses the baby, and so they talk every day. But she misses him. She's coming to sleep for us to get home too. So my grandkids and my daughter and them. So, but again, and so is my office. I'm sure they miss me greatly. They've been texting me and wanting me to get my buttons home right away and get to the office and start pounding away at advancing on Métis Right. So for the Red River. So that I'll talk to you guys next Saturday. I'm in Spain listening to you right now, so you know that you had somebody in Spain listening to you, Ray.
Wow.
And there's the church bells are ringing again. You can hear them outside. It's a beautiful sound. They're right beside a beautiful church here. But the church I went to yesterday, was that yesterday, Laura? Yesterday. And Ray, it is one of the magnificent churches that I've seen with my eyes.
Wow.
It is massive, massive church. And it took us about an hour to tour through it. I took some beautiful pictures, and I prayed in several areas of the church. There's an enormous amount of statues everywhere inside there, the history and the story. But the beauty of that, the architect inside of it, is just phenomenal. And so we spent a lot of time in that church yesterday, and I was very proud to be there. And I can still hear the church bells beside me in my hotel right now. And I'm going to go to 3 more churches in Portugal before I go home, and then I won't be leaving for a while. I'll tell you that, unless my baby's right beside me.
Yep.
So, okay, we'll talk to you guys, Ray and Cowboy. Thanks for finding me, and to all of my Métis citizens, I can't wait to get home to fight. I'm still fighting for you from year to year, but I'd rather be in my office.
Yeah.
Anyways, to our businesses, make sure you apply. To our farmers, make sure you know that MMF has got your back, and to our fishermen and all those out there. And the youth, make sure you apply, start your business opportunities. Look at this micro business opportunity that's existing. There's a good opportunity for us to start small businesses and start taking care of ourselves in a bit more efficient, economic way. So you guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys next Saturday. And this time you'll find me at home, Cowboy.
All right.
Okay. Well, safe travels, David, for sure.
Yeah,
okay, take care.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye.
That's, of course, the president of the Manitoba Métis Federation, David Chartrand. And, boy, he's traveling, I'll tell you, working all the time.
Yeah, I know.